George Russell and Max Verstappen have gone full rogue when discussing the Qatar GP penalty, and with their statements as well as the involvement of Horner and Wolff, it's going to be one of the harshest rivalries that the sport has ever seen. But with 2021 still living rent-free in Mercedes' minds, have they gone too far with accusing Verstappen for something that he received defence from drivers like Alonso? And if so, have they awakened the beast inside the four-time world champion at the end of the season? It goes without saying that Verstappen and Russell have had some interesting times in Qatar, where Verstappen was penalised for impeding the Mercedes driver who wasn't even on a fast lap. The behaviour of the Brit in front of the stewards has been vastly criticised by Verstappen, and now, after his comments, Russell made sure to make his feelings clear as well. George didn't hold back on words when talking about Verstappen ahead of the Abu Dhabi GP, and when explaining his side of the story, Russell said, "I find it all quite ironic, seeing as Saturday night he said he was going to purposefully go out of his way to crash into me and put me on my effing head in the wall. So to question somebody's integrity as a person while saying comments like that the day before, I find it very ironic, and I'm not going to sit here and accept it. People have been bullied by Max for years now, and you can't question his driving abilities, but he cannot deal with adversity. Whenever anything has gone against him, Jeddah 2021, Brazil 2021, he lashes out. Budapest this year, the very first race, the car wasn't dominant, crashing into Lewis, slamming his team. Trust me when I say this, it doesn't end here. The comments that Verstappen made about Russell have hurt the British driver so much that he labelled them as disrespectful and unnecessary. What he feels is that whatever happens on the track should stay on the track as part of the racing, and what happens in the stewards' room, whether it's fighting hard, is never personal, but Verstappen has taken things too far. And if you remember, we did cover in one of our videos what Naomi Schiff said about Verstappen's words when it comes to their encounter after the stewards meeting in Qatar, as she said that she can't say everything that's been said by Verstappen because she might get banned by the FIA. Luckily for us, Russell has played the role of a good guy and said everything that Verstappen told him. And when talking about this and saying how he felt disrespected as a driver because he's known Verstappen for 12 years and never had any collisions apart from the ones on the track, Russell said, "To me privately, straight out of the stewards' room, Verstappen said, 'I don't know why you would want to screw me like this. I am so disappointed in you. I was going to not even race you tomorrow. I was going to let you by. But now, if I have to, I will purposefully go out of my way to put you on your effing head in the wall.'" So I don't understand why he was so unnecessarily aggressive and violent in that regard. Russell has also gone on to comment about the 2021 finale in Abu Dhabi, saying that if the roles were reversed, Massey should have feared for his life. Elaborating further on this and how he feels Verstappen would have reacted differently than Hamilton in what could be a bit of a try to save some grace in front of the F1 media, Russell said, "I think Verstappen has been enabled to act as he does because nobody has stood up to him. Lewis stood up to him in 2021 and Lewis lost that championship unfairly. Could you imagine the roles being reversed and Max losing that championship in the manner in which Lewis lost that championship? Massey would be fearing for his life. Some of the recent incidents he has been punished for and also punished himself for, like Mexico with the reckless overtakes and Budapest with the reckless overtake, it is just in the past that he has had such a dominant car that he has not been in this position. I think the FIA is pretty on it now, and I don't think much needs to change from their viewpoint because he is going to punish himself one way or another." If we are to look at the starting grid, it did look like Verstappen positioned his car a bit more to the left so that he could attack Russell straight away. And these words are something that we could believe have happened because there are multiple sources who are relating us to them. But according to Verstappen, there wasn't this much crying from Russell in the stewards' room when he was taking the situation way too far. And when talking about these comments, especially about the ones where Russell reportedly had tears in his eyes when talking about this situation, the Dutchman also didn't remain silent as he added, "It was not that dramatic with the stewards last week. Maybe next week I'll bring tissues." And if you know Verstappen, you do know that he always stands by his word, and it's easy to understand why he was so angry about the situation with Russell. He always respects on-track racing and nothing more than that. This is why the situation being taken away too far from the Mercedes driver has brought a lot of disrespect between these two. And keep in mind that in 2025, when everything resets, the championship fight will get even more tense, and this relationship could be sparked thanks to a situation like this one. When talking about his part of the story, Verstappen said that Russell's comments are not true and it's not how he expressed himself. As he added, "That is not true. I didn't say I would drive him into a wall." He is trying to exaggerate it again. Do you know what else I can't stand? That he attacks me in an unacceptable way with the stewards and then comes back a day later as if nothing is wrong and slaps me on the shoulder. Then I think, stay away for a while. He makes up all kinds of things that are not true. With me, you always get the same. Here at home with the stewards, I don't change. You can't say that about everyone, but I'm not surprised by that with Russell. And of course, the comments that Verstappen is a bully and has continuously bullied the drivers on the grid is something that the Dutchman has understood as personal, and you would normally expect that his comments regarding this matter would be very fierce. That is precisely what happened. And when addressing this, Verstappen said, yes, that is okay, but George is a backstabber, that he brings all this stuff up. He is just a loser. He lies and pastes all kinds of things together that are not true. I only gave my opinion about his behaviour with the stewards. He is clearly not into that. What he said about 2021, that is how it went down with the stewards. He insinuates a lot of things that don't make sense. And obviously when a situation like this happens, you would expect the team bosses to react a bit more aggressively towards the rival driver, and that is why there has been a lot of talking between Horner and Wolff. The team principal of Red Bull believes that the situation was brought to Verstappen because of how Russell presented it in front of the stewards, and when talking about it, the team principal of Red Bull said, "I think the penalty for Verstappen was more based on hysterics from George, who has been quite hysterical this weekend." On the other hand, Wolff is far away from accepting comments like this from his colleague Horner, and it's obviously a perfect storm in the making for these two, because the 2021 season, no matter how much we're going to think it's gone, still lives rent-free in Mercedes' heads because their driver was done the way he was by Massey. Even Russell's comments about the former race director not being able to live if the roles were reversed have caused a lot of a stir. And when elaborating from his point of view, Wolff said, "This is a thing between drivers. This is between George and Max. I don't want to get involved in that, but if the other team principal calls George hysterical, this is where he crosses a line for me. He is not into intellectual psychoanalysis, but that is quite a word. How dare you comment on the state of mind of my driver?" As a team principal, it's important to be a sparring partner for your drivers, and that means explaining that things can be more nuanced. Statements that are absolutistic, thinking that everything is either 100% wrong or 100% right, are something I think need to be more nuanced, depending on your perception and your perspective. And at the end, why does Horner feel entitled to comment about my driver? How does that come? Yapping little terrier. Always something to say. With all this in mind, there is no doubt that this rivalry between Russell and Verstappen will only get fiercer as the Brit will look to be the next champion from Mercedes. What do you think about all of the comments that have been said by Russell and Verstappen so far and their respective team bosses? And more importantly, do you think that this rivalry is just going to get more intense? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in the latest spat between the F1 teams and the FIA, make sure to check out the video that appears on your screen right now.